Ready? Go. 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 Oi, 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 oi. More energy, more power. Oi. Bloody hell, mate. Oi, 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 oi. Oi, oi, oi. Oi, mind up. Oi, yeah. More energy, more power. Oi, oi, that was mad. More passion. Let me see that footwork. Give it to them. More passion, more energy, more energy. Oi.
I don't know, whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
Okay, but
Okay.
yeah, I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Ready? Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out.
Sting is going to do. It's a video. Sting video.
What is?
For credits.
I don't know what that means. To play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Okay. In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a. I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it!
We obviously didn't communicate clearly. We had to discuss your surrender, not mine.
Tú eres tan romántico molestando con una diva. Me pregunta si te quiero. Yo te digo que no estoy lista y no quiero comenzar. No hay nada que pensar. Yo te dejaré atrás. Mientras gano más y más. No estás en mi nivel y tú no eres obligación. No estás motivada y tú aburres mi corazón. Eres un idiota sin inteligencia y razón. Entonces déjame tranquila y se escriba tu canción. Tú eres tan romántico molestando con una diva. Me pregunta si te quiero. Yo te digo que no estoy lista y no quiero comenzar. No hay nada que pensar. Yo te dejaré atrás. Mientras gano más y más. No estás en mi nivel y tú no eres obligación. No estás motivado. Corazón. Eres un idiota sin inteligencia y razón. Entonces déjame tranquila mientras escriba tu canción. Estoy aquí a disfrutar. Estoy aquí pero quiero gozar. Si quieres a mí pero vamos a bailar. Cintura a cintura papi tra tra tra. Bailando, gozando y me gusta tomar. Pero no quiero pendejos que no quieren respetar. Déjame pendejo papi ya no más. Déjame pendejo papi ya no más. Estoy aquí a disfrutar. Estoy aquí pero quiero gozar. Si quieres a mí pero vamos a bailar. Cintura a cintura papi tra tra tra. Bailando, gozando y me gusta tomar. Pero no quiero pendejos que no quieren respetar. Déjame pendejo papi ya no más. Déjame pendejo papi ya no más.
What is up, everybody? It is your boy Luis Martinez, aka at Big Chief Burrito, live with you on a Wednesday. Mi Gente show live and direct from San Diego, California, the Burrito Lounge. And you might notice that my beautiful co-host Sofia Carrillo is not here with us tonight. That is because she is very fancy schmancy, and she is making a movie for the next couple of months, which I have a cameo in, so I'll be in there at some point. But she is doing her film career, which, you know, good for her. But as they say, the show must go on. I can't just stop podcasting just because she needs to make a movie. So we are moving on with Mi Gente show. And the next few episodes, we will have guest co-host coming in to hang out. These will be a combination of people that have been on the podcast before. So there'll be people that are familiar with the format, that have come in, that have been guests, that want to come hang out, talk shit. And we may have some people that haven't been on the show before. So it'll be kind of like a hybrid guest / co-host situation. So I did want to kind of do a pod today to get caught up on all the crap that's gone on since the San Diego Latino Film Festival, which is when we stopped. We stopped podcasting sometime in March, right before the festival, or during the festival. We did the intros and we did the kind of preview streams that we always do. Then I kind of took a little break, and now we saw that Sophia was going to take a little hiatus, and I decided that now would be a time to get caught up on everything. So, who's my first call? Who's my first co-host? It's this guy. It's the Big Brown Dad.
The biggest, the brownest, the downest.
Oh, man, can I just say I missed the coffee?
Man, you're not alone. Rest in flavor, mestizo.
Mestizo coffee, man. When that 420 would show up, you know.
Yeah, the tonic.
The tonic.
You know, I'm glad I did it. It was I didn't start it because I wanted to build a coffee business that would last, you know, millennia. Oh, I did it because I wanted to see something that wasn't out there that I can make a reality, and I assumed would resonate with other people. It's as much an art project as it was a business project. It was like, yo, this would be dope if. Why isn't there something like this in the world? Fuck it, let's try it. Let's do it. I did it. It's cool. I'm sad I didn't become a millionaire. Like, it would have been nice. It would have been nice to become rich.
If Starbucks would have came and bought you out or something like that.
That would have been cool. But like, it's a commodity, right? Like, anybody could sell coffee, you know. Right. I guess the thing that I could have done better, and kind of what I've done, kind of what lives on now, is I have an audience. I have a newsletter. I have like the people who bought my coffee. Some of them I still communicate with on a regular basis. So that's cool. So yeah, had I grown that list to 500,000 people, Starbucks might have come knocking. But what are you going to do? You know? But now I'm overpaying for coffee. So that was really the impetus. Sorry. All that to say but the true story is I was tired of paying retail for coffee. And I wanted to get a better price on it, and so I had to become the middleman. You know what I'm saying? I had to as the supplier. I had to become the plug to get a discount.
I had to be the plug.
So now I'm back to paying retail, bro.
Fuck. I mean, I learned a lot about coffee from you when we talked, and I had to step up my game.
Okay.
You know, from the Keurig bastardized little things to like the pour over process and all this.
Oh
stuff.
shit!
So, yeah, you turned me
Diego, there's a little pour over scene out. There's a little like specialty coffee scene out there, right?
Yeah. There. I mean, I get honestly. I got turned on to like single origin, like, you know, like shit like that, like the hints of this and that and all this stuff, and I was like, now I'm very picky about the coffee now.
Yeah.
I got a really good grinder. I got the whole thing going. Like yeah, man. Like And it was important for me to take that step because once I was diabetic for a long time. Once I was aware that I was diabetic, and I had a lot of changes, you know, one of the places that was going to be the hardest was you can't just drown your coffee in creamer, and I started to get creative. So the way that I dealt with this was better coffee, more flavorful coffee, with like half and half or whipping cream, stevia, cinnamon, and that. And I had to learn how to love those flavors. You know, I think
Right.
coffee and stuff helped me with that. The same way now, before back in the day, I would, spit if I drank a Diet Coke or a zero sugar soda. And now I'm like, fucking Canada Dry zero sugar is my shit, So it tastes better to me than any other soda has ever. And I think that's kind of like, it was part of my process.
Wait, so are you just saying that, or is it true? Like interacting with Mestizo as a brand elevated your coffee?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Oh, that's dope, bro.
100% talking to you and starting to invest in the experience made me appreciate it more, made me more cognizant of not using it as just a tool to get your day started,
Right.
but as a process of enjoying yourself and doing something for yourself that was a little bit more upgraded.
That's right. If I remember correctly, because I think we maybe drew the analogy between coffee and stress weed and top shelf tree. Like there's stress coffee, and like most people are drinking the stress coffee.
And there's good coffee in stress circumstances, like
Okay,
like
sure,
good coffee through a Keurig is the same as like you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yeah, it's like in a shitty paper.
Yeah, exactly.
And then another thing that sort of became a thing for me is like that concept of where like like you've heard about those studies about where like coke addicts they start getting the high, they start getting the same effects before the drug even hits them, just when they're like cleaning up the surface, chopping up.
Sure, yeah.
Like they're not even like, they don't even, the drug's not even in their bloodstream yet, but just the process,
Right.
And then the other thing that I've always equated is like, sometimes as a smoker, if I pack myself a bowl, I might not smoke it for 3 or 4 hours, but the fact that I have a bowl packed, ready to go at a moment's notice, calms me,
Right.
It makes me feel good. So just having there, boom, boom, boom. It was a little extra, like, me time, in the morning.
Okay. Here, let me add something on that. How about because I've run out of coffee. Because I will not drink the dirt, bro. I'm not gonna drink the bullshit. We can't. Me and my wife both drink specialty coffee. So same shit, bro. Like, damn, ran out. I don't care. Who's open? Who's available? Who got it? I gotta go where? I gotta go 9 miles right now? Hell no. Nah. All right, fuck it. I guess I gotta go 9 miles right now. How early can we meet up? How early?
Give me a bag of single origin and a fucking dozen eggs.
meet me on the corner.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's where we met, and that's kind of where we first started our conversation. But like I said, I'm one of the people that's on your newsletter, so I sort of keep up with your journey. And obviously you have a long career in marketing, video production, advertising, all the stuff that you did before music, hip hop, all these things that sort of got you to where you were. And then you added something that I have on my bucket list, which is stand-up comedy.
That's right.
How did you make the transition from like sit down, busting balls, cracking jokes, your mama this, freestyle kind of situation to crafting, like a type 5? What's that transition like?
Well, I think you're right to say like it's a continuum. Like, I don't think it's entirely like doing stand-up comedy isn't entirely new for me, having been a substitute teacher, which is straight up show up and get to entertaining, quite frankly. And like, if they're junior high, or all these students want to be entertained. So I had many hours trying to entertain strangers just off GP, off rip. You start now. I used to rap. I've done spoken word poetry. So all those felt similar. I've always I don't know if you heard or whatever. I don't know if you read the paper, but like I was named class clown in my junior high, 8th grade. That was me. I came through. So I've always been trying to be the smart ass or whatever. But stand-up comedy, I probably would have pursued it earlier in my life had I not been religious. Because there was a time, like I became religious as a 17-year-old till about 27 or 28. So like I wasn't cussing. I wasn't like promoting like perversions that you and your friends were involved with. I was I was on some other shit. So, but I've always been a fan of humor. I've always been
You're
a
walking
fan
the path.
of. What's that?
You were walking the path.
I was walking the straight and narrow, bro. But then I guess recently I just decided, because there's so many open mics in the area, and I just had to do it. It just kept pestering me that I wasn't doing something that I knew I could do, and wasn't going to be that hard to actually. I didn't have to drive very far. I didn't have to, spend a year coming up with the content. I just started writing and started practicing and just went and did it. And I did it for a year, like you suggested. Like I had a goal. My goal was to raise to make $5,000 in my first year of comedy. I just wrapped my first year of comedy. I made $500. We did it, Mom.
Brooklyn, we did it.
We in there. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going though, because I got some jokes.
No, absolutely, man. I think that's so it was a convenient. It was both something that was gnawing at you, but also you looked around your direct vicinity. You're like, this isn't something that would take too much for me to do, right?
Right. Like, how many excuses are you gonna come up with, bro? Like, okay, how about this? My roommate from college became a stand-up comedian the year after we graduated from college, and so I'd seen his trajectory. I was like, and not for nothing, but I thought I was funnier than him, or I think I'm funnier than him, or definitely like so. But he's doing he's having a great career. Like, this is pretty cool. Then I had another buddy I went to college with. He started doing stand-up comedy, and he started getting some motion. I'm like, okay, so like, how many excuses am I going to come up with? Like, this is some shit I should just try. So, and more than anything, I just have to say this dumb shit that I'm thinking, bro. I've really thought about, like, why am I doing this? I'm not doing this to really make money. Why? I just have some shit I got to get off my chest. As cliche as that sounds, or whatever, but
no, I mean, I've been wanting to dabble in comedy and stand up for a while. I had a friend who was one of the reasons that I started doing karaoke. And then, I've been doing karaoke hosting for the last year and a half, and it was really easy. And some of my favorite parts was in between songs, interacting with the audience, cracking a couple of jokes, this and that. That's always been my favorite. And then obviously I've done sales. So, commanding the mic, podcasting. I have everything that I think would need it to translate to be on the stage. I don't think I would be nervous, but still there's a little step.
Okay, so there's something you need, and you might already have it, because like you have the name Big Chief Burrito, but the one thing, so like, me, like, not, I decided to do this. I've tried to find all the books on stand-up comedy, how to be a comic, this is the comedy, how to live 30 days in comedy, all the shit, all the podcasts. It's like, okay, the key takeaway for me has been for me to develop a comedy persona. Comedy persona. So it's like, who am I on stage? I'm the dad who. People have different personas. Different comics have their own. The best comics have their own personas. And you're not even laughing at their joke as much as you're laughing at them saying the joke. You know what I'm saying? Because you fuck with this guy or this girl because she's a disgruntled wife, or he's a haphazard dad, or whatever the persona is. So for me, it was like not so much a stage name, which I did struggle with. Like, should I be Carlos Aguilar, number 2000, or should I just rock with my Big Brown Dad, which I had a parenting blog for a long time. So I was like, I'm gonna rock with Big Brown Dad as kind of off-putting as some people might take it, as I might even take it as a comic. Like, wait, we're all using our names and you're coming in with this fucking big brown dad. But for me, I felt like that was a little bit of a shortcut to a persona too, where I was like, I'm just not fucking Carlos Aguilar, of which they're
Steer into it. Steer into the persona.
Yeah.
Right?
Now that said, I don't just do fucking dad jokes or whatever. Maybe that's the danger too. But I'm more than happy with like, this is my name. It has a vibe. You might hate it off rip, but let's just see if my jokes are funny. And I feel pretty good about my jokes. No, my delivery, I got to work on that. But I think I got the bones of
Timing. The timing is also a big.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think for me, and because I know I have a few stand-up friends, and then I have a friend that got me into karaoke that all of a sudden is doing really good in stand-up, and I think I was talking to somebody, and they're like, they basically mentioned the same thing. It's like, well, you know, you already have a persona. You have like a podcast persona. You have like the sales persona, but you need your comedy persona. And they're like, are you going to be a comic? Or are you going to be a fat comic? He's like, is that because there's comics whose persona is, you know, like you said, like I'm the dad, the dad, you know, are you going to be a comic or a fat comic? And I started looking at some of the jokes I had, because like I had a joke where it's you know, like one of my jokes is was you know, like they talk a lot about my weight, you know, my weight loss goals, because I'm a big guy. It's like my weight loss goals is for people not to automatically assume that I want extra ranch when I get my takeout. When I walk into a restaurant, they're like, you want extra ranch? I gotcha. You know what I'm saying? That's my weight loss goal. So, but then I saw how much fluff he makes, and I was like, hee.
Yeah. Hey, I was just here listening to something yesterday where they were talking about how much money these guys are making. It's like insane. Yeah. No, I think in the end too, it's also well, like with my rapping, having done that for so long, it was always like, don't come off whack, don't say something predictable, try to impress them with the punchline. A lot of that is kind of the similar kind of mechanics of some good comedy. So it's like, I'm not going to say a predictable punchline. Like that's the worst thing so yeah. The other thing is, even with your joke about ranch, it's like, I think in your case and in my case, it's just get started, bro. Like maybe you use that joke for a little bit because you get laughs early on, and those laughs, all those early laughs are really important. So fucking get them, because that's going to be fuel to keep you going for a little bit before you do something different. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I'll be like, just jump in it, bro, and just fucking
jump. Yeah. No, I got my toes on the edge of the swimming pool. I'm getting into it.
This is the most exciting, because once you do it, you're gonna be like, the most exciting part has been all this anxiety that you've had about it and shit. Like, damn, am I gonna do it? I should do it. Fucking, am I gonna do it? Oh my god! Then you're gonna do it. And you're like, damn, I did it. That was the other fun part. Once you do it, guess what, bro? You could call yourself a stand-up comic, bro.
Yeah. That's like kind of when I made my first movie, and I say, hey, I'm a filmmaker now.
There you go. Exactly.
No, dude, it's absolutely. And hey, listen, it helps that we're in a fucking we're in this fucking area type of the world where we need comedy and we need comedians, and sometimes it feels like comedians are kind of like the last fucking they're comedians right now are on both sides of the spectrum, because some comedians and some comedy podcasts, stuff like that, like the Joe Rogan crowd, those guys are like pushing the envelope towards more like right-wing stuff. And then there's people like Bill Burr that are sort of fighting against that. And it feels like, you know, Anthony Jeselnik, you know, all these like cancel culture sucks, Joe Rogan, versus like cancel culture is not real. Like fucking relax. Right. Like just, it's your job. Figure out a way to make things funny. So it's a weird time for, you know, and then you got Elon saying comedy's legal again, you know, and shit like that. So it's kind of like,
so where do you think Hispanic comics are falling on that spectrum right now? Like, what do you see coming out of quote unquote Hispanic comedy? More right sounding bro comedy, or more kind of aware?
Latinos are kind of in a weird place right now because I think that they can go either way right now, I think, and I think that there's a lot of like we got a lot of issues. So in terms of the comedians, I think what I've seen is kind of more right leaning. I think that the guys that are out there that are more, I think that there's a lot of stereotypical stuff happening with brown comics. They're kind of doing like the 90s, early 2000s, like black people do like this, white people do this type fucking bits that are out there. But like Latinos do this, and my Latina wife does this, and you know what I mean? Like, or even the Latina comics, they're like, yeah, dating a Puerto Rican guy be like this, and you know what I'm saying?
Right,
So there's a lot of that.
Wait, is that mostly holdover from like because like if you're a Hispanic comic when you're 20, you're probably still working right now as a 7-year-old and shit. Like motherfuckers will hang on to your ass forever. Paul Rodriguez is still touring. But like I feel like what you're describing is probably true of like comics from the 90s, 2000s, 2010. Like that style of comedy. Are you hearing that from the younger? Are they using that kind of style too, or?
I think that the stuff that's landing right now is like the TikTok, Instagram stuff, like the crowd work and stuff like that.
Right.
I think, yeah, there's a lot of that happening right now. That kind of like if you can hit with like a crowd work video, you can blow up, and then go from there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that people like. Do you follow that guy Duno? Is that his name?
That doesn't ring a bell.
Duno. He's touring with Jerry Garcia.
I mean, the people that pop up the most for me is the Cholo Fit guy. I see his shit all over the place.
Sure. Yep.
But I also had his homie Chris Estrada, who I like his stuff. We had him on the show from This Fool. And then there's that other guy, the young guy that got into it with Lopez, right? The kind of the young skinny kid.
Yep.
Barbosa, yeah, him. And then there's the long-haired Mexican dude, the Arturito guy, that he's like all sloppy, cokehead Mexican dude. You know what I'm talking about? That he's like I think he went on tour with Cholo Fit too. I forgot his name. He's got like the long disheveled hair and stuff like that. What's that guy's name? But yeah, those are the ones that I see hitting the most right now.
Okay, yeah. Now I've actually taken the time when I started a year ago. Maybe I was probably 6 months in. I created a graph with what do they call that? With the X and Y axis, and I graphed Latino comics based on popularity and skill.
You focus grouped it?
Not exactly, but I was like, okay, this comic, how funny is he? And how popular is he? Boom, okay. How funny? And then like I would group them. I'm like, okay, these guys are very popular, but they're not that funny. This guy's very funny, but he's not that popular. This guy is neither popular nor funny. This guy is, not popular but funny or whatever the fuck. But like, so I was like trying to get a fix of like who's doing what and where do I see myself in this matrix? You know what I'm saying? Like definitely overthinking it, you know what I'm saying? But I was gonna say too, like, yeah, like overthinking it because I don't know, because part of me feels like comedy is the highest intellectual pursuit, but that shouldn't be your primary pursuit. Like if you're a comic with like, if you're like a comic and that's been your only job as an adult, then I'm not really as interested in your ideas compared to someone who was like a physicist who then became a comic, or a fucking like have done something, not even physicist, had just whatever, fucking plumber, and then you were a comic. But like just being funny is not enough to give you the type of insight that makes comedy worth having and shit. You know what I'm saying?
So you think it's more so you trust like a 35-year-old grizzled like ex-plumber that's doing comedy more than like a 19-year-old that's just been funny and just is like, I'm gonna do stand-up because I saw some TikTok videos of guys that were talking shit to the crowd, and I talk shit to my homies all the time,
Yeah, no, I think so. I think the best comedy speaks a certain sort of deep truth, and I just don't expect it from younger people. But I'm happy to have it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it can't be funny and young, obviously, but it's more like if all you've been doing is making jokes as a living, then I don't know. That's cool, but like, hopefully there's something else going on there.
All right. Yeah, I get it. So you go from coffee. You doing the comedy. What'd you make the $500 doing? Was that just like contest, or
No.
how'd you make that money?
Well, how about this? When I started college in 1994, the orientation week, we culminated in a stand-up comedy performance where our school paid Chris Rock $30,000 in 1994 dollars to perform. 30, 15 something. I just remember the school newspaper running an article like, I can't believe the college paid. And I was like, he made how much? Oh shit. So that I was like, I always remember that, you know? And so anyways, I had the chance to go back to my alma mater and perform stand-up comedy. I didn't get paid 15,000. I certainly didn't get paid 1,000. I only got paid 100. But the cool part was not only was I was able to perform at my alma mater, I was able to perform with my homeboys who went to school there as well. But I was able to perform with a comic I really like who headlined. His name is Fahim Anwar.
Okay.
You know that guy?
Sounds familiar.
Hilarious as hell. So that was cool. I made some money. And then I hosted a party. Someone donated. Someone like straight sent me $100. I was like, hey, I believe in you. Some people I was selling postcards to fund. I had like also like, hey, send me $50 and I'll send you 4 postcards or whatever. So I was doing shit like that, you know, and to raise money. What else did I do? Oh, I wrote a comedic essay that got published in a comedy magazine. That was $50 right there. So, you know, it was all slow motion, bro. Like when I asked my friends, hey, what's the likelihood of me making my goal in stand-up comedy? They were like, bro, you're going to fucking lose money. I was like, bro, I've been doing this 15 years. Nobody pays me, bro. Like type shit. I was like, oh shit, why do you, the only people who are happy doing this have a job outside of comedy and they don't depend on comedy. I was like, oh shit. Everybody's giving me all these stark warnings, which I take to be mostly true, you know. But at the same time, I know that 90% of the comics aren't operating with a plan on how they're going to monetize. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers are just trying to, I don't know what people are up to, but I was trying to have a really circumscribed goal of what I wanted. And
you attacked it very scientific. You went like Neil deGrasse Tyson on that bitch.
Feel me?
Like, right?
Yeah, so at least, yeah, you know.
You applied the scientific method to comedy.
Well, here's the other thing. My vision board at the top of this year was like, yo, I've been thinking about this idea of local celebrity. It was like, yo, celebrity isn't very what's the word? Maybe efficient, because if I'm a celebrity in LA, I'm not currently using my celebrity in New York, Phoenix, Denver. I can only be using my celebrity where I am. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of unused leverage with celebrity because you can only ever be in one place, whatever. So I was like, that being a celebrity is kind of inefficient. You know what I'm saying? Like being a local celebrity though, like just focus on where you are. Like in my little neighborhood, like if all my neighbors knew who I was, you know what I'm saying? Or like if the people in my downtown area, if they all knew me, like that's some shit. You know what I'm saying? So in the spirit of like being a local celebrity, I have really circumscribed goals. You know, I'm like,
it's kind of like, you know, attacking like political unrest and stuff by doing local elections and focusing on your community, things like that, right?
Exactly.
Control what you can control. Start there. Start small. Start community activism. Start shit like that.
Hey, who's the most famous comic of all time? Jesus Christ. He started with 12 audience members, and those guys laughed their way to billions.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. What comedian that I saw recently that really made me want to sort of that had a lot of truth in their comedy was Mo Amir. I went out on a date a few months back, and that's where we ended up going to go see him perform here when he was in San Diego. You know, freaking Palestinian comic making content and making a show on Netflix, all while his homeland they're performing a genocide, in his homeland, and that was it was incredibly powerful to see somebody under those conditions who had basically their entire country on their back, being able to crack jokes and that really motivated me, as well as I my role in the San Diego Latino Film Festival is picking. I have a showcase called Hay que Reírse, which is comedy showcase. That's my focus, is comedy films. I select the best comedies every year, because they serve as a counterbalance to all the serious films that are at Latino film festivals and things like that. So, I think it's important that more voices are both in the, you got your serious Latino voices like your AOCs and your stuff like that going out there. Because we also have a lot of fucking, I don't know if we're going to call them the I don't know if they're race traders or what the fuck they are, but we have this other contingent of Latinos out there that are like the pendejos for Trump and people like that are out there like on their knees, like simping for these people. And it's also depressing. So I like that there's a counterbalance from different areas coming out there,
Yeah. No, I mean, when I made that graph and I started to group Latino comics together, this is a question I've asked several of my friends actually too, was like, how many different, now I'm mixing up my metaphors here because I was like grouping cohorts. So like, how many different comedic cohorts by style do you think there are for Hispanic comics? And it's like, whatever that number is, let's just call it 5. For blacks, it's 10. You know what I'm saying? For whites, it's 20. Like the types of comedy that are visible and available, just the styles, the types, like, and you might even break that out by like not only subject matter, but delivery style, intended audience. Like myself and Martin Rizzo, who I love, is hilarious, would have the same content, joke about the same experience, but my intended audience is going to be different from his. You know what I'm saying? But when you start looking at the Hispanic comedy scene, I think there are only a handful of ways which we see ourselves being funny, and that needs to increase.
I think what's lacking, I think that we don't really have like a Kill Tony kind of situation. Like I don't see a lot of like Latino roast comedians out there. 99% of roast I see is mostly white, black comedians, stuff like that. So I think there's definitely an area there where we're lacking. And like, yeah, you're right. When you're a white comic, you can be 20 different types of comic. You
Right.
can be Seinfeld, you can be Bill Burr, you can be Joe Rogan, you can be whatever you got a lot of Anthony Jeselnik. You can be all different types of comics that are available to you, personas, as you say.
Right.
All right. Well, that's what you've been doing. Let's get into a couple of things that are happening in the world right now. That's why I kind of got out to get somebody else's opinion what's going on. This is a segment we like to call Hellscape Watch. All right. So let's jump into it, man. Fucking the world is getting used to this new universe. The US is gone full fascist. We have these people that are defending billionaires. They're throwing it back for billionaires like it's going out of style. We have First Amendment erosions. We have we are a country of laws, and First Amendment absolutionists that are okay with people being black bagged, sent to indefinite detention. We have literal concentration camps in other countries. where we're now planning to send homegrown U.S. citizens to prison in there. So what are your general thoughts on kind of the state of the country right now? Like, I know that's a big general question, but what's the thing that's bugging you the most, or that you think it's the most poignant for you?
I think I suffer from being overwhelmed. Like I've heard people suggest that this part of their playbook is to kind of overwhelm the general public with so much mayhem that they're able to do shit that we're not even considering behind the scenes. I feel like every time I decide to pay attention, there's just so much shit that it's like, oh man, now what? I guess what's become apparent to me, what I didn't realize before Trump 2.0, is that a lot of what we like take for granted as business as usual is really held together by just tradition and voluntary kind of handshakes. Like the reason why Trump is able to do what he's doing means that other presidents were probably also capable of doing this, but didn't, because it just wasn't polite. It wasn't politics. That's not how we conducted ourselves. And it's just kind of alarming to think that all the while our system allows for this kind of fuckery, where this one dumbass can throw a wrench in the system, where the executive position can cause this kind of turmoil. Is kind of mind-boggling to me. So I see a lack of checks and balances, and every time I decide to pay attention, and part of me is like deciding to try to not pay attention as much. What do you do? Do you get your news every day, or are you a news?
I don't like to get. I guess I sort of try to filter what I get. So there's a few different voices that I sort of listen to, that I just sort of. There's a couple of places like on Twitch. I watch a lot of Hasanabi, who I believe
that?
Hassan Piker. He used to be on the Young Turks, but now he streams on Twitch. Hasanabi.
Okay.
Basically, he's like a leftist, socialist, like progressive, communist, so to speak, and he streams a lot of good content. And he's had Bernie and AOC on and stuff like that. So I like the interpretation of the news from his perspective. I don't watch a lot of like mainstream news, because I think they are falling for the trap to where they get the little morsel of, oh my God, he posted that the White House official Twitter account posted "Long live the King," and then the media gets that and it's like, oh, this is our headline for the next 8 hours. This will be our headline. This is what we can get our talking heads talking about. The White House posted "Long live the King." Does this mean it's not a monarchy? Does this mean he's going to suspend elections? Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, they do 6 executive orders. You know what I mean? And they open up a concentration camp in El Salvador, or they do this and this and this, and all of a sudden they pass something that says all illegal immigrants now have to register with the U.S. government, or they're like, oh, we're gonna enact this, we're gonna revive this law from 1812, so that we can label anybody that we don't like a terrorist, and then that way we can suspend due process and stuff like that. So I 100% believe that there is a direct playbook of overwhelming the media so that they can get shit through, giving us so many little bullshits to deal with that we don't see, the forest for the trees, so to speak. So I try to just, even through the podcast, we try to sort of, I always say there's more learned people, there's brighter people that actually talk to journalists, go from good news sources, and they can filter it. So I like to sort of keep my opinions in check until something really, really pisses me off. My red lines, as somebody who was an immigrant and who did things the right way, it still took me 20 plus years to have any sort of temporary status. And that status can be literally right now taken away. So I see the erosions as something that will eventually directly affect me. And it's disheartening that a lot of people see this happening and have gone from absolutionists like, oh, we're a free speech or we're a nation of rules, and they're like, they suspended due process. These are people with legal protected status that have been given a promise by the government of the United States, and we're literally saying, no mind, new boss, we're cutting deals. You guys are now in limbo. You guys are now deported. You guys are going to a maximum. You're going to Sekut, and you're staying there indefinitely, and we're shaving your head, and the other part which you said, which is true, a lot of the politics and a lot of the things that people that have happened are held together by handshake deals, by the idea that there's some sort of civility in politics, the peaceful transition of power. They already tried, well, what if we don't do a peaceful transition of power? What if when there's a 9-0 ruling against us in the Supreme Court, we say, oh no, it's very clear, it was a 9-0 victory. They very clearly said we win, ignoring judges' orders. All these things that are like, firing. When they fired all the inspector generals, when they're putting cronies and yes men in positions of power. It's all very, very scary, the playbook that they're putting together. So I think my thought has always been that, Democrats are cucks and Republicans are the devil, because Democrats are the party that feel as long as they keep the moral high ground.
Right.
Well, as long as they keep the moral high ground and like, that's not, we want bipartisan. The Republicans are like, no, just win, baby. They're like the Raiders. They're like Al Davis. Right. Win, whatever. We got to cut corners. We got to ignore judges' orders. We don't care. We're getting our agenda passed one way or another. We're banning trans. We're banning this. We're doing all this shit. So yeah, I think I try to filter it through people that are more learned and just sort of see how they're thinking, and it's a lot easier than having to sort through all the bullshit. And then I think you got to pick your sources. And I still like to keep up with right-wing sources. I still like to watch stuff. I like Breitbart, Fox News, things like that pop up. I watch some right-wing stuff on Instagram and stuff like that, because I like to see kind of where the brain rot is going.
Right.
Because we're literally, it's going from like, oh, First Amendment, due process, legislation of laws, to like, oh, I guess it's okay if due process is not held, as long as it's people that I don't like. I guess it's okay that we're super racist and Stephen Miller is a literal demon, and as long as it's people that don't look like me. And then they're like, oh, they're gonna send homegrown criminals to other countries to put in prison. As long as it's only the really bad guys. What skin color do you think the really bad guys that they're going to send to El Salvadorian prisons are going to be? Do you think there's going to be like one white guy that they're going to send to El Salvador in prison when they start sending? Or do you think they're going to say, oh, these are really bad gang members, we need them out of the country, we need to clean up the prisons, and all of a sudden a bunch of fucking Hispanic people in prison, black people in prison are going to get shipped out of the U.S. to extrajudiciously, without due process, they're going to be extradited to serve their time in another country where they can't be seen by their family, where we can fucking do experiments on them, where we can torture them, where we can do all this other bullshit. So it's disheartening. I try to make time for seeing the good in life. I think it's kind of like everybody's got to like pick their poison. You absorb, you react, you take a minute of outrage, maybe you pick one or two things and you talk about it, or you post about it, or you engage, and then you try to live your life.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's interesting with the because my news sources for politics are two white coastal elites or whatever, and that's because as I look at the landscape for like political podcasts, like any Hispanic podcast that talks politics is at least one step removed from the insider information that the podcasts that I listen to have. Like there are podcasts with former Obama insiders or whatever, right? Staffers. Like I'm listening to that podcast first before I listen to any Hispanic podcast that just offering opinion based on news that they read from suspect sources. You know what I'm saying? So like, I guess I say that to say like, it'd be great if we were at the stage of our development where we had Hispanic political insiders who can give us analysis from the inside, not on some outside fucking conjecture type shit. So I thought it was interesting that you said the person you listen to is streams on Twitch. It sounds like he's maybe Middle Eastern or something, but American.
Yeah, he's Turkish. Yeah,
Turkish American. Yeah. So I think the more. So I'd love for there to be a day where we had some decent podcasts, because I often wake up in the morning when my favorite political podcasts, don't have a new episode. I'm like, damn, how could you not have something for me to listen to this morning? It'd be great if there was something from our perspective, quote unquote.
Well, the left has been looking for their Joe Rogan, right? That's the whole thing that they're saying, like, podcast, Pod Save America, all these other things out there. They're more from Caucasian perspective a lot of the
That's
time.
right. Well, do you think Rogan's a Caucasian podcast?
Rogan's a bro podcast. I mean, I used to listen to Rogan a lot when he would have like Joey Diaz on, or fucking the dude that was a flat earther, or talking about like hunting and Bigfoot and aliens and weed and fucking other dimensions and ayahuasca and all this shit. That was the fun Rogan. And then some COVID broke him, and then he became this ivermectin fucking, like this whole thing, which, there is an element of truth to their complaints about like CNN does this and they did this, and there is truth to the left leaning sort of slant that they put on news and stuff to make that like central, like mainstream media like ate its own tail. They sold themselves out for profits. They hated and they loved Trump because they get to make money off of him, stuff like that. So I do think that there is a space open for Latino voices. I think it's like starving. Yeah. We're more in that niche of like reacting to the reactions. So
right.
but there is. I wish there was more of a direct source reactionary Latino podcast, something out there like that.
Yeah. I think it's just the more we encourage people to pick up a mic, and as much as we all complain about everyone having a podcast, we need more Latinos to have podcasts. Like this.
All right. Trump is going to get a sponsor for the annual White House Easter egg roll. Who should sponsor the annual Easter egg roll?
I think the smart move would be some kind of bacon company or something. Like I think we're in the era of collaborations, bro. So it has to be like bacon and eggs.
Hormel, something like that. Like
yeah, like ooh, yeah. You know what? Well, I don't know what's RFK have to say about this. Is he a tofurkey? No, he's not tofurkey. He wants like he wants moose bacon or something.
Bear bacon.
Bear bacon. Yeah. That's a. Who do you got sponsoring the Easter egg?
I kept going to like Zigzag or something, like the 2025 White House Easter egg roll sponsored by Zigzag.
It is on 420 this year, as I understand it.
Oh man, see, there you go. There's the collaboration you were looking for, man. There's a 420 celebration.
Ooh, now the White House should collab with like a country, bro. But like a small country, like when like when a small ass brand collabs with a big brand, we gotta collab with like Micronesia. Have Micronesia like, oh shit, they'd be going crazy in Micronesia over that, bro. They cop all the fucking merch.
Sorry. Something. Yeah, I mean, maybe Russia.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy. That'd be like the DC Marvel. Like, is that a thing? I don't know. I don't watch movies like that, but Nah, these U.S. Russia collab. That'd be too obvious, probably right now for Donald Trump. She don't want to fucking show his hand.
Yeah,
Literally sponsored by Russia.
Literally sponsored. Yeah, comrade. This is a video that was making the rounds, which I thought was interesting. One of the biggest topics that's happened recently is the on again, off again tariff shit that Trump's been trying to do. As a leftist, as somebody who's pro-union, it's kind of hard to get across to some of these people that one of my favorite things is when people flip-flop on issues, right? When left and right flip-flop on issues, like with the Supreme Court stuff, when there was like, Obama can't name a Supreme Court judge with 100 days left to go. That should be up to the new administration. But when it's Trump, and then the left is like, no, we have to put him up. It's part of his job. We have to put it up for nomination, blah, blah, right. As soon as it happened within the Trump administration, they flip sides. The Democrats was like, no, right. you guys said no, you guys said we can't do it at the end of the administration. And the Republicans was like, oh, too bad. It's part of his job. We're going to do it, which is a perfect illustration of Republicans just doing shit as opposed to Democrats thinking, no, the civility of it and bipartisan fucking shit. But the tariff thing was hilarious because, the right was like, oh, yeah, tariffs. Didn't fucking have an idea what tariffs were. Then there was like, tariffs got paused. Ha ha, it was just a negotiation ploy. He was just doing it. Art of the deal. And it's like, no, we're actually going to do tariffs. It's like, oh, yeah, tariffs. Tariffs are tanking the economy. Well, they went from like, oh, it's Biden's economy. So like, oh, it's all right. Tough times. We can get through some tough times. And then tariffs are off again for 90 days. Ha ha, art of the deal. So I just think it's so funny that these guys are like bending over backwards to just justify everything. And as a leftist, there's certain targeted tariffs for manufacturing are good as long as you have the existing infrastructure so that people have the option of buying local,
sure.
Yeah. But you can't just put reciprocal tariffs and say there's a trade deficit. You guys, we buy 80% from you and you guys only buy 25%. If these countries can't buy anything else, then taxing them the difference makes no fucking sense. And then I thought this was a hilarious video that they did on TikTok, basically saying what the future is for Americans. Get ready, America. It's happening. You guys wanted tariffs? Get to the factories, baby.
Wait, should I be happy or sad? I don't see any Mexicans doing any work right here.
It's time to get back to you say tariffs and magically all these factories will appear and they'll all be staffed and everybody will be trained on high precision manufacturing lines and stuff like that. Meanwhile, go ahead.
No, I just can't help but to note the racial dynamics of that video. Because on the one hand, to China, like Latino Americans, like you and me or whatever, like we don't exist as Americans, bro. Like we might as well not even fucking register. I know this in part because I've been to China, and they have no conception of me as a Mexican American. They're like, when they learned that I was from America, I was American. Like I might as well been fucking from. I might as well look like John Elway because American is American. So on the one hand, they really don't even consider us when they consider America. But when they do see us and learn that we're American, we just assimilate into this fucking identity of American, just fucking blob. But yeah, man, I'm not you know what I was going to do today? I was actually going to use ChatGPT to get me a better fix on tariffs because for some of the reasons you mentioned. Obviously, nobody ought to be completely opposed or always in favor of every tariff. There's some nuance to this, but what is like kind of from what I've heard, I guess you could say from the experts that I listen to, I guess one danger is that it's hard for the markets to anticipate what this fucking idiot's gonna do, and because of that, that's had an effect.
Because as a move, as a art of the deal, it makes no fucking sense because you're like I said, if the infrastructure is not in place to alternatively buy local, there's certain things that we can't get other places.
That's right.
And then we're getting mad because they say, Australia and New Zealand don't buy beef from us. Why the fuck would they buy beef from us? They have the best meat there.
Right.
Why doesn't Europe buy F-150s from us? That's because the streets in Europe are tiny and you need a commercial driver's license to drive an F-150 in Europe because they're considered like commercial trucks. They're not like us here that have everybody's got a giant fucking dually F-150 rolling coal. So it makes it's poorly planned as a structure. Look, like I said, I consider myself a socialist. I consider myself somebody who hates the Democratic Party. The DNC is one of the most corrupt organizations out there. They fucked over Bernie twice. They disenfranchised a bunch of Latino voters when Obama could have fixed immigration. He had a supermajority. He could have fixed immigration his first term. So I'm not a fan of the Democratic Party in principle. And one of my main things is it doesn't matter who you voted for at this point. Now it's all our problems. It's all our problems. We're all in this together. Whether you voted or didn't vote, we're all in it together. So I'm not a person that wants Trump to do bad just so I can be proven right. I want him to stumble into something that makes the economy better. So as much as a piece of shit he was, his first term, the economy was better until COVID, right? Economy was doing really good until COVID. So I hope that he stumbles into a couple of things because of that. So if he's going to do something that's going to bring back high-paying union jobs to the U.S., then do it, but have a fucking plan in place, and do it in a way that makes sense, like you said, that's targeted, that actually makes sense. If just doing it as a move and then pulling it back and just saying they're on, they're off, they're on duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season is not the way. So yeah, I think we're on the same page on that one. It's just like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Excuse me, sorry about that. This is something else that happened a little while ago, but along with the bullshit about tariffs and the economy, we did have the plan for Gaza that they came up with, which was turning Gaza into the next Mar-a-Lago, I think. Trump Gaza #1, baby.
I think first things first. I think I was probably 40 when I first realized that hummus was bean dip. Did you know this?
Almost, yeah.
I'm like, what is bean dip? No wonder that shit smacks. It struck me watching that though that I didn't realize this, but at first, but it's like I think that was that whole vision was prophesied in the book of Revelation, bro. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like new heaven and new earth status right there.
Yeah, and it's always curious that some of the biggest Israel advocates are hardcore Catholics and Christians that and they support Israel for the simple reason that they want the rapture to happen. which would mean all the Israelis died, and they would have the new heaven and stuff and things like that. So it's interesting that they're like, we support Israel, yeah, Israel.
Yeah,
But what they really want is Israel to be done with, because they want fucking Jesus to come back.
that's right. No, it's amazing. It's so maddening. It's enough to make me write a rap song about it, which is what I did many years ago.
Yeah.
It's a song called "Blame It on Brown" on my album Heaven and Earth. And I basically it's an apocalyptic scene where people are begging for some more apocalypse.
Can I have some more apocalypse, please?
Yes, please. Here, drop it on me. Drop it on them.
And then the other thing I wanted to talk with you, because I know we're gonna cut this off pretty soon, but the simping for billionaires is, at an all-time high. I saw this that kind of perfectly encapsulates it. The billionaire definitely loves me, which I thought was hilarious. Which is just people that feel that billionaires have their best interest at heart, which is hilarious to me. And then, the fact that they're trying to get the death penalty for Luigi Mangione. They get the entire NYPD to escort him into jail. They're labeling him as a terrorist. Maybe one white person would be sent to Sekud. I think if they're going to send one white person to Sekud, it would probably be Mangione, right? They're literally making an example of him to keep us in our place, because you don't kill a CEO and not be made an example of. So, what are your thoughts on all this? Like, because it's been said that capitalism is based on the masses not realizing that they're poor, but thinking that they are temporarily they're billionaires that are just temporarily in a bad place, right? I'm not poor, I'm just not rich yet,
Yeah, no, for sure. I love it.
What are your thoughts about just all this simping for the rich?
I just don't understand how you can be the richest man in the world, or even the top, whatever, 1%, and still be visible online. Like, if In-N-Out were to give me an extra hamburger by mistake, I'm going dark for 4 days, bro. Like, you're not going to see or hear from me, bro. Like, I just came up sick. I want to make sure no one comes after me. But these motherfuckers are the richest in the world, and they're online doing dumb, petty shit, bro. Like,
having arguments, reposting fucking right-wing accounts.
And it's the funniest thing, and this is actually just what do they call it? To call back stand-up comedy. The funniest thing is, apparently all Elon really wants is to be funny.
Yeah. Everybody says that all he likes to do is just crack jokes nonstop. He made the Teslas fart.
See, like, it's a sick compulsion, bro. It's like, no, yeah, sure, I'll take all the money, but I guess what? There's something else I really want to make you laugh or something. I don't know. That's not even it.
Comedy's legal. Comedy's legal again, Big Brown Dad. Comedy's legal.
That's not bad. That's not bad. No, you should. Oh, that's shit. If I work impressions into my routine, yeah. I don't think I'm ever going there. Let me think. Do I have any impressions on the docket? Right. No, but I am going to start working act outs in. I have some act outs I can really like. Oh, I got to do some act outs. But impressions, I don't think I'll ever go there. Physical comedy, I think I can get more physical on stage. I think I might be pretty good at I just have to give it a try. But like, and then I got in my car, like the fucking different little sounds you can make on stage.
Yeah. I always thought hilarious when like Chappelle would tag his jokes by just dropping his microphone, and just like he would do a joke and just like let his microphone like smack his hand and stuff like that.
Oh, that's right. He goes,
yeah. Like he tags it like that, which I think is very cool.
Yeah. No,
well, I mean, we got once I get a couple of a year or two of stand up under my belt, we could do the BBD BCB tour.
Just do it, bro. Hey, check it out, bro. Well, you're in sales, you recognize this, but like you have to always be selling, bro. Look, there are So my kind of task was like, how identify different ways to monetize comedy. Like stand-up comedy is one kind of way, maybe, but there are other ways. So I'm on the hunt. Producing a comedy tour seems to be another. Um, Producing a comedy festival, that seems to be another. Um, Maybe there's something in comedy. Well, hey, are you up on these fucking what do they call this? Drama box?
No, what's that?
These like, I guess all the rage is, I'm gonna make sure I got the name right. Drama box. I guess what people are saying, yeah, sure, Hollywood's dead and all that, but like what's really popping right now are these, and I guess they've been for a while, short form produced scripted series that are like 31-minute episodes. Are you familiar with this?
No. I gotta look into it.
Hold on. Yeah, I'll send you some shit. But basically, I'll send you the article or the TikTok that points at the article that points to these companies that are killing the game right now.
Okay.
And it's all like it's all produced, campy, soapy, scripted series. So it's like, it's not exactly skits. No, it's definitely not quote unquote sketches or skits. It's, you can tell production companies are producing this with real actors, but it's real cheap sets, real dumb storylines, and really corny. Anyways, I say that to say more people are going to be in that space trying to produce content, and from what I've seen, there isn't. You know how like in the straight to DVD market, there were like, and I don't know the full story behind this, but I had always heard that hood horror films were cheap to produce and made a lot of money. Or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the same was true for hood comedy or like that genre, those subgenres of like, I was like, oh, someone's going to be doing that for this format, all shot vertically, for example. So it's shot vertically off rip. So it's definitely produced for mobile.
For your phone, yeah.
But so that means you can't just recut existing shit. You have to kind of produce it for the medium. Yeah, interesting. So I don't know. I know you're making shit, but that could be interesting for you.
No, that's in. Yeah. It sort of hurts my filmmaker brain every time I have to create like a reel and stuff for content for the shop, and I have to do it vertical because I'm like 99% of people are going to watch this on their phone. I have to do it this way.
Yeah.
But there is a space there. Yeah. I am working on my next film. I definitely have. After the festival and after being able to hang out with some filmmakers, I did get very motivated to start working on the next thing for me. So I am now that I've shifted careers from sales to tattooing, piercing, and now I know kind of where I can have my free time. I'm definitely going to start working on comedy. And I'm writing my next film, and I am going to start creating more content. So hopefully there'll be a space where we can collaborate on something down the line and get something pop in there.
For sure, bro.
I definitely feel like there is something there. It's actually I'll tell you about it offline because I'm still developing the idea, but it's kind of a brain fuck of an idea that I've been toying with. I'm probably gonna do a teaser for it at some point, do a crowdfunding, go that route for it. But I definitely got the itch to start being, after COVID. After switching, because I was making movies, then I started COVID, switched to podcasting to stay creative. Then I was doing hospice care for my dad, and then I had a bunch of life changes, changed careers, and now it's like, okay, my life is sort of settled into what it is now, but my first passion continues to be filmmaking and telling stories and making people laugh.
Right.
So I gotta figure out more ways to do that. So we're all about that, man.
For sure, bro. Like in the spirit. How old are you?
47.
Yep. I hit 50. Your next 3 years are gonna go by hella quick. Might as well get shit on the scoreboard. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I told you I had an opportunity to go back. I don't think we finished it, but I had an opportunity to go back to my sales life because I had stopped. I had this option, and I was like, I had to decide: do I keep doing this or do I just jump in with 2 feet into this tattoo industry? And I said, fuck it, I'm jumping both feet in. And I'm 6 months into full time, just tattoo shop, piercing, managing the shop, tattooing. That's my life. That's how I make money. That's how I pay my bills. And as soon as I was like knee deep into it, and it's that cliche of your old life calls back, or like your ex is not going to call you back until you're,
Sure.
why does every time a friend of mine goes through a breakup, do I sit them down and make them watch Swingers? Because the moral of Swingers is the old girl's not going to call you until you move on. Once you've moved on, that's when the old girlfriend calls back and says, I miss you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And once I had moved on, my old life literally called me back and was like, hey, we got a new client. We could use a sales guy like you. You want to come back and do a few hours a week? And I was like, In my mind, I saw money and I was like, what if I can do my new life and I can do my old life for a little bit and that'll give me this extra money. But then the more I thought about it, when I tried it, it was like, I can't do that again. I can't go backwards, man. I've already hey, what's up, Mr. Mick? Mick's watching us on my IG. What's up, Avila? So I couldn't go back to it, man. So you're so money. Yeah. Fucking Swingers. Best movie ever to make somebody watch after a breakup. Yeah. So I had that. So your old life will come calling back, but
Sure.
I decided to move on. So full forward with new projects, new career, new life, new all that shit, man.
Yeah. Hey, well, don't hesitate to hit me up, reach out to me, anything, whatever. I'm down.
Yeah.
Try whatever.
I'm gonna shoot you my number on Twitter. That way I can just text you if anything.
For sure.
I think I might have your number, but either way, we'll connect. But Los, thank you for joining us tonight, man. I appreciate you coming on, even if it's just to rant a little bit about what's going on in the world. And again, I get a lot out of our conversations when you've been on the show. And I'm interested. I always read your newsletters and kind of keep up with what's going on with you. And I appreciate you coming on as a co-host.
Hey, man, appreciate the invite. Appreciate the work you're doing. Peace rather to your co-host. Oh man,
Sophia,
her last name
Carrillo.
Sophia Carrillo. Sophia, bring me some red vines from craft services if you don't mind. Bring me back a handful of red vines. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, she's busy making a movie, doing production, doing acting, stuff like that. I was what am I gonna say? No, you got to keep doing the podcast. I'm like, no. I mean,
no, I can't wait to see what's up.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, let's make something happen, bro. Thanks for the invite.
All right, brother. We will check you out later. Thank you for joining us, man. I'll do a goodbye, and then we'll talk later on, man. Appreciate you.
All right, stay up. Peace.
All right, Mr. Big Brown Dad hanging out with us tonight. Talking a little Elon Simp, a little what else did we talk about? Tariffs. I guess just to sort of cap my thoughts on everything going on right now. Like I said, somebody who's pro-union, U.S. manufacturing jobs, leftist, progressive. Like I said before, targeted tariffs to help U.S. manufacturing bases are a great idea. I would like nothing more than to see Trump stumble into a good plan. But staffing, building, refitting, training a U.S. populace and workforce that's not really interested in going in to do high-tech manufacturing jobs and thinking that just by saying the word, you're going to create an industry here in the U.S. overnight is ridiculous. And doing these blanket tariffs and all these stupid moves and then pulling them back and saying and having the populace say, hey, art of the deal is also bullshit. So, we talked about that. The immigration stuff, everybody knows where I fall on that. As an immigrant, former immigrant, somebody with a temporary protected status that did things the right way, I think it's disgusting what's happening. I also think that people are doing things like posting Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is a literal fucking demon. Stephen Miller is somebody who went to high school and was openly racist, tried to create a club that was just like, nationalism. He's very openly thinks he's Joseph Goebbels. And he is the scum of the earth. And he is the author of Trump's immigration policies. And when he comes on TV and he says that's vile, fucking horrible thing, it makes me sick and it sickens me. And anybody who posts this shit is a piece of shit, in my opinion. There's also the people that say that they're a country of rules and laws that are 100% okay with due process being eliminated and people being black bagged for the political beliefs. People having their immigration status revoked because they say, Israel sucks. And these people believe that this line will stop at them, that they will never be affected by it. They don't see that the fact that they can come after these people here illegally or undocumented, and then they can go after people that are temporary status. Then they can go after people with green cards. Then they can go after people and denaturalize them. And then they can go after homegrown people and send them extrajudiciously to other countries to serve their time, which would be illegal. They can also ignore judges' rulings. And they can also basically just do whatever they want right now because Congress and the judicial system are doing very little to fight back. And anything that they don't like, they're ignoring. So if we have checks and balances, but when the checks and balances come in, if the executive branch says we're just going to ignore that because they work for us, then we no longer have the country, we no longer have the Constitution that we're all based on. So it's a weird time, and I'm glad that Mr. Big Brown Dad came on today. Follow him at big_brown_dad on different platforms, I think Twitter, Threads, etc. And subscribe to his newsletter. He's got a lot of cool stuff happening in the world of comedy and stuff. He's got some good thoughts, good rants, and I'm glad he came on. Sophia, I think in the summer she'll be back. We're going to keep going every couple of weeks on the Gente Show as I line up guest co-host to fill in that time. Hopefully at a better time so more people can join us live. But as always, you guys understand our audience is mostly audio. So I wanted to put out an audio episode, just record it live because I hate editing myself. So we're going to keep it going. Mi Gente Show. Look for more Mi Gente Show stuff coming at you. Look for me trying some stand-up soon because now I'm motivated. And look for a new Tui and Burrito movie in the near future, as I'm going to start working on that, as I am currently working on that. So as always, thank you to Mr. Bring Back Down. Thank you to everybody that joined us. Thank you to our entire audio audience. Make sure you guys are listening and subscribe to the audio version of the podcast, Mi Gente Show, anywhere you get your podcast. Just type in Mi Gente Show, follow, subscribe, rate, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for listening, watching. We'll try better next time. Peace out.
Vamos, papá, hay que irnos. Me estoy aguantando desde que pusieron el domo.
Puedes esperar. Muchas personas trabajaron en esta película y solo quieren que te aprendas sus nombres de memoria.
Y yo quiero asegurarme de que ningún animal resultó lesionado durante la filmación de esta película.